mid-shot, and it'll get rid of those low shots.
Hey folks, welcome to another Absolutely Outdoors. Today we're at Archery Connection over on Veterans Parkway. And Mal here has bought a new bow and we're going to get Mason to show us how to set this thing up, and then later on we're going to go out and shoot it. But right now, Mason, if you would, take over and go through how to set this bow up.
Yeah, so
set it up. Everybody has to have it set up to the individual.
Correct.
We can't just say you won and say go shoot it.
Right.
So,
yeah. There's a lot of
setup.
setup
Up here, and I'm gonna step out of the way.
Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of setup with any bow. If you want to be able to shoot it accurately, proficient, things like that, a lot to setting up a bow. So anyway, you're a little bit longer draw length. So what we got picked out here is a Hoyt RX4. This is an Ultra, so it's a longer bow. It's gonna fit you. And how old are you? Exactly.
I'm 14.
Yeah, you're 14, so you might still grow a little bit. So we've got the larger cam here that will fit you, and it can grow with you. So with a bow like this, we would set it up with like an arrow rest. We would set it up with sights, D-loop on the string like what you see here for your release to go on, a peep sight, a quiver, and a stabilizer. And that would be everything that we would set up on a bow to get you basically shooting. It's going to make it a lot easier for sure. So the finished product is going to be something like this here, which is your bow that we have already set up for you. Same bow. That one's just completely, fully set up, ready to go to the woods.
Go through and explain.
Yeah. So as far as the bow, this right here, like your main thing is going to be like the sight. That's what you aim with, just like a scope on a rifle. Your arrow rest would be right here. This is a drop-away arrow rest, so your arrow will sit right there in the middle. As you release, it drops away. So it's a really efficient shooting arrow rest. Your peep sight, which is right here, that's actually like a rear sight on a rifle. If it's someone that doesn't really know about bows, peep sight is definitely something that will help you a lot. It's a very little piece, but it helps a lot. This right here is your wrist strap, and what that's for, your hand will go in it just like that. So when you shoot, you should shoot with a really relaxed grip, and what that's for, you can't ever drop your bow like out of the tree, or if you're just practicing, you can't drop it. From there, we have our stabilizers. What that's going to do, it's going to, one, deaden the bow down, but it's going to make you hold steadier and kind of get that pin movement. It's going to help you out with that. It's going to help you out with that a lot. This one here has actually got a rear stabilizer, so that's going to just help you out a little bit more with balancing the bow. So this one right here helps you hold steadier. This one right here will help you hold steadier and balance the bow as well. So yeah, that's pretty much everything in a nutshell on a bow. This is definitely one of the nicer bows, the same bow that my dad uses, and I use something very, very similar. So really good shooting bow.
You used this bow when you went to Colorado?
I used what was called the Axios Ultra, so it's still a longer platform bow, but it's the aluminum riser, where Dad shot this exact bow. It's almost the exact same setup.
Okay. Mel, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
You're just ready to go shoot?
Ready to go shoot, ready to hunt.
All right, that sounds good. Well, get your bow and let's go.
All right, here you are.
Thank you.
Hello, folks. We're back here at Mulberry Creek Kennels for the dog tip of the week. This is Zeus. We're going to talk a little bit about force fetching. Why is force fetching important? One thing is it allows a dog to deliver a bird to hand. If you shoot a bird down and he's still alive and the dog goes and gets it, but he won't hold it, bringing it back, the bird could get away. And then it's also the foundation for a lot of the other things that we require the dog to do out in the field. So I'm just going to demonstrate real quick what we do. First thing we do is we teach a dog to hold an object in his mouth. Sit, sit, sit. And it's real simple. We just take something, a dowel. I usually use a PVC or a wooden dowel to start with, just because I don't want him to build up resentment to a bird or to to a bumper, sit, sit, hold, hold, hold. So once we can get him to sit there and hold, then we're ready to proceed on forward. This usually takes right at a week to get a dog to hold reliably. So once he's holding, give, good, sit, sit. Then we'll move to a bumper. And then once we go to the bumper, sit, 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 sit. We'll start putting a little bit of pressure on him, and that's where the force comes in. We'll just kind of squeeze his ear a little bit, fetch, to make him grab it. So when he reaches out, because he's kind of saying ouch, we're gonna put it in his mouth, and he's gonna learn to take it when you give him the command. Basically what he's doing is when he hears the word fetch, fetch, here, fetch. When he hears that word fetch, he's trying to beat the pressure of the ear pressure. So why is it important? It gives us a dog that'll deliver the bird reliably to hand. And it's also the foundation for running blind retrieves and being a good dog out in the field. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
All right, buddy, so you got your new bow.
Yes, sir.
You excited about it?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, good deal. So anyway, you got your RX4, and what we're gonna do today, I wanna just watch you shoot, and I wanna just see some technique and see what you're doing, and then we're just gonna walk through some basic fundamental things that you need to learn, that you need to make habit. It's just like you're a big football player, I understand. So it's like you do the repetitive things at practice every day, right?
Yes, sir.
That you think, why are we doing this? Why are we running through the chutes? Why are we doing all these different things and footwork and all that? Because it becomes habit. Same thing with shooting a bow and arrow. So grab your bow, let's get over here and let's just, we'll get at 20 yards right here, and then we'll take it from here and see what you look like, and I'll just start critiquing as we get going. So you did get set up at, you got set up over at Archery Connection, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Going to a reputable bow shop like Archery Connection, and whether you live by Archery Connection or not, or another city you live in, it's super important to go to a reputable shop with techs that know what they're doing. These bows, when they come out, they're not exactly 100% ready. They have to be tuned. They've got to be paper tuned. They've got to be in balance. All the things, they're very technical piece of equipment, and they work as well as they're set up. So great job getting that done with them, because they're really, really good and they know what they're doing. So, all right, show me, let's just talk about hand first. First of all, you just shoot it and let me watch you. Okay, all right, so couple things. First and foremost, your grip on the bow is really important, okay? Super, super important. That can do a lot of different things. In a hunting situation, it's so different than when you're sitting out here hunting, right? When you're sitting out here versus hunting, you get really jacked up, you're excited, your adrenaline's going, you're a big, strong kid, so you get going back. Gripping that bow really tight will cause you to do something that's called torquing the bow, okay? So let me hold it. If you're holding it tight with your grip like that, it's first of all, it's putting your arm in with a lot of tension in here, okay? So, and then when you pull it back and you do this and you're gripping it, you'll tend to do this right here. Well, when you do that, it's cocked and it will not shoot well like that, okay? So really, this is really just a rest. And so when you pull this back, you want this to be, the pressure is here. You gripping it does nothing to it, okay? You're not holding the bow up with your hand. The pressure, the back pressure into your grip is it. So that'll help you out a tremendous amount when you shoot. And you pull it back, you can you want your fingers to be kind of loose and relaxed, and that way you're not putting any extra tension on the bow. Okay, so let's try that on this one, and then I'll show you some other things you're doing after that.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Your draw is nice and smooth. That's really great. Strong, so you should be able to do that just like that. And loosen your hands up. Just relax. You're gonna feel the pressure right here, and just loosen your fingers. It's not going anywhere, right? Just relax. There you go. Relax your hand. There you go. There you go. Good. So those are really close together. So consistency in shooting is everything with the bow and arrow. If you shoot at a target the same distance and everything, you want to shoot a tight group, okay? So what'll help you here, what I noticed for you, put your finger out here. No, just like this. Okay, so what I saw you doing here is your release is set and it's ready to go. You've got your finger this far away from the trigger, okay? And what you're doing is you're taking it from here, and when you go to fire the bow, you're doing this. Straight like that, okay? That's not how you shoot a gun, right? When you shoot a deer rifle, what do?
You just squeeze.
You rest it on there and you squeeze it as slow as you can when you're ready to fire. Same thing with this. When you're doing that, you're losing all kind of accuracy because there's no way possible at an inch away, and you just decide to go shoot it and you do this, and I see everybody do that. It's very difficult to be accurate. You want it resting right in front of it, and when you're ready to fire, just back squeeze, and then we'll talk about and then really what's the most important thing when you start shooting distance. And again, I'd highly recommend that when you start bow hunting, to become a great bow hunter, you watch TV, you see people shooting all these big deer, you got big deer on your farm, do yourself a favor, do not go out and try to go shoot a big buck with a bow until you've killed at least 5 or 6 other deer. Or other animals, right? You just need to get really good at placing the arrow, shooting out of a tree stand. It's gonna be different. When you're sitting here like this and you're a big guy, you got a broad base on your feet, right? When you're drawing. Well, a lot of times when people get in a tree stand, their feet are this close together in a small stand. So it's very difficult to draw sometimes. It's more core muscles and things like that. And so you'll have to get used to all these things, but go out and get used to just practicing from a tree stand, getting used to killing stuff, and then go try to hunt a big buck once you get good at it. So your release is very important, your trigger on that, and then your follow through, okay? And what I mean by follow through is that the further out you go and you shoot, if you're gonna ultimately get to where you can shoot 70, 80 yards, which I kill stuff regularly at 80 yards and above, the follow through after you release is incredibly important, because if you don't follow through and you do this, like that, yeah, it's gonna work for 20 or 30 yards, but the minute you go 40, 50, 60 yards, so you need to get in the habit of following through, and you'll notice those groups getting closer. So you acquire the target, you'll squeeze it off, and then you sit there and you just kind of let this fall away, and you don't move. You just kind of keep your eye and everything trained in that same position, okay?
Yes, sir.
Those are the 3 most important things. The grip on the pressure on here, how you're squeezing the release, and the follow through. So when you were a little apprehensive, you're thinking the bow's gonna come out of your hand, right?
Yes, sir.
The pressure, where do you feel the pressure? Right here, right?
Right in there.
Right, it's right here, and that's where it is. So and when you get it back, it's just gonna rest there, as long as you're not cocked or torqued, right? So you just release your hand, and you should be able to do this right here, like that with your fingers. You don't have to do that, but it's gonna let you get your hand relaxed, okay, which is important. So shoot at that top right orange piece of tape. There you go, nice, relax. Feels different, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, finger over there, nice, close to it. There you go. Nice. Okay, shoot another one there. Now, until you start getting a lot of reps, it's going to tire you out. You're strong, you're young. However, when you shoot this bow 10, 12 times, it takes a tremendous amount of effort to do it with muscles that you're not used to using. So what'll happen is you'll start shooting erratic. Okay, after 7, 8 shots, you need to go rest, go sit down, come back 30 minutes later and shoot some more.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Relax your fingers. There you go. Okay, let's go look and see what you got here, where these are. Okay, so nice and close, fairly close right here, not bad at all. You just want to get to where, you know, at 20 yards, you should be able to put all of them like that, touching each other. You don't want to do a lot of that because it looks cool, but you'll end up blowing your arrows up, right? Which they're expensive. So I'll let you pull those out. I've had 4 back operations. There you go. All right, and so you hear them vibrating a little bit. You want to make sure that these are tight. Yeah, that these are tight. If you hear that vibration, it's not good for the inserts or the tips. All right. So, anything you have questions about, anything doesn't feel right, anything weird, anything you're curious about how you should do this, how you should do that?
No, sir.
Okay. There's a lot going on with the bow, right? You got stabilizers front and rear. You're a big kid, big bow. You're strong, so that's great. The key is once you start dialing this to come down to get your numbers, I don't know anything about the sight or anything, if they come with a tape or anything or not, but if this is 20, which it is, obviously, as you start going down, you'll take this and roll this wheel down probably, I'd say about like right there for 30, and then see where it is, and you chase it. If you're shooting low, you go down further low. If you're shooting high, you go high. If you're shooting left or you're shooting right, you go left and right, okay? You chase it, okay? If you're shooting left, you go left, okay? If you're shooting right, you move the sight right. It seems backwards, but that's the way you do it, right? Yes, so let's go back here to 30 and let's put it right, about right. You know what you're pulling?
70.
Oh yeah, it's already maxed out. Okay, so 70. So you're not gonna have that big a gap between 20 and 30. So we'll go right there, and let's go back to 30 and let's shoot it at 30. Yeah. We'll shoot one right here at 30 and we'll see how we're doing. Now again, the further out you go, the more still you need to be, the more poise, and you got some wind here and all that, so. And so aim, I'll tell you what you do so we can see something. Aim at that right middle orange, okay? We want to be aim right at that. Relax your hands. There you go, and don't yank the trigger. Okay, shoot another one. You don't ever want to sight in during a ton of wind either.
That's right.
There you go, nice relaxed hands, perfect. Okay, let's see what you got. The distance looks pretty good. You're not low. That's great. So I would say, where were you aiming? In the middle of this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I feel like your sight, you've been shooting right the whole time. Like when you were here, I feel like you were a couple inches to the right. And at a close distance, at 50 yards, that ends up being this far, okay? That close, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's yank those out, but that's a great grouping. So I would say I'd say you're up and down for your 30. Your 30 is really, really close to right there. But you don't want to mark that thing until you 100% sure you're exactly where it needs to be.
Yes, sir.
So you'll want to figure out what adjustment gives you the ability to go this way. So at that distance, it's about like that. You know, you're about 2 inches to the right, so it won't need to move. You'll take this and move this over like about that much right there, okay, at that distance, and that should get it over those 2 inches, just about like that, okay? Let's shoot a couple more here. You're doing well. You're addressing the target like this, which is important. So when you're in a tree stand, and a critical thing once you get up, so once you get your marks, like if this is going to be your 30 mark and you put another line there, and then you go to 40 and you go to 50, and you know, and I would just say, you know, I'd say right now I do a 30 and a 40 and not try to shoot anything over 40 yards until you can really start placing groups. If you can shoot groups like that at 40, and then you need to get a tree stand in your yard, go get your target, get a deer target. Do you have a deer target?
Yes, sir.
Okay, get a tree stand and go put it out at 20 or 30, you know, 30 yards, and just sit there from an elevated position. And the key when you're shooting elevated is this. When you hold the bow, hold that. Let's say I'm here and I'm getting ready to shoot a deer. The first thing people want to do, and it's at an angle like that, you're 20 feet off the ground, they'll take it and they'll just do this like this and drop this arm. What that's doing is changing the geometry of the shot. So when you're sitting here like this, everything is on a plane, right? It's on a plane. If I just do this, everything changes, right? It's not the same. I'm doing this and doing this. So when you draw and you're getting ready to shoot at a deer, you want to pivot here at the waist, so this whole thing is the same. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that'll keep that way it'll keep you from shooting over the back.
Yes, sir.
All right, shoot that same one. Shoot at the left corner of that orange, the one you were shooting at, the left corner of it. That was way low. Yeah, that's all right. You're maybe getting tired.
Just dropped.
So the left corner of that middle right orange. Relaxed hands. Don't torque the bow. There you go. Yeah, a little erratic. It's okay. It's tiring, right? You're shooting a lot. I mean, you just shot 10 arrows, so that's a lot when you don't have the repetition. There you go. Okay. So you'll need to play with it, shoot it. You can adjust this. I think originally where you were was pretty good. And then lastly, the anchor point of where you come to every time you pull a bow back is the single most important thing, okay? The reason you could shoot erratic there is the possibility that when you come back, I mean, I see the strings right next to your face, so that's good. You're not scared of that, and you're putting it here. It's very, very important. If it doesn't go to the exact same place every time, you're never gonna shoot the same. Okay, that's why some people put the little kisser thing on the string. So when they come back, it touches the corner of their mouth, and that way it's a reminder for them exactly where that needs to be. I just know because I've shot so much and I just have my spot, that's my spot. You gotta get your spot, but when you come back, every time, the string of placement and everything, how you're set up here, is critically important, okay? If you don't want to shoot all over the place. People miss deer all the time because they're new bow hunters and new archers, and they're not going to the same anchor point. So let's go back over it one more time. Hand, light grip, don't torque the bow, don't squeeze it hard. There's no reason for that. Remind yourself to relax. When in a hunting situation, your heart's gonna be racing, your adrenaline's gonna be blowing up, and you're gonna be nervous, and you just gotta kind of calm yourself down, think through it. Relaxed hand, trigger, don't yank it, put it right on there, right here, very, very important, okay? And then your follow through. Sit there, and when you shoot, just follow through and let the bow just kind of fall away, but don't move, okay? Don't do this to look. Shoot one more. I think you got it. There you go. Okay, cool. Well, the most important thing, guess what? You bought the right bow. You bought the best. You bought a Hoyt. All right. So this was your last one, right? I think so. Okay, cool. That's great. So I think your 30 yards on there is probably set pretty accurate. You'll just need to go back home when you get rested and go out fresh and shoot. And when you're fresh and you shoot, pick you up, like if your target, whatever you got, put a spot on there that you can actually shoot at. Some orange tape like that's great. Put it on there. You want to aim at a spot, just like on a deer. If you just shoot at the deer, you're going to have a really difficult time not hitting them wrong. They call it aim small, miss small. Just pick a spot and always shoot at a spot. You want to aim every time you shoot a bow. Don't just shoot at the bullseye. Shoot at something like this, okay? And that's how you want to do your grouping off that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
man. Just have fun. Shoot your bow every day. That's the most important thing. You know who Cam Haynes is?
Yes,
Cameron Haynes?
Yes, sir.
He shoots his bow every day. So that's what he does to get better.
All right.
All right?
Thank you.
You got it.